Okay, we're going to create our typing tracker today for tracking your progress with typing over the course of the semester. Our objectives for this is to build an application with Google Sheets that helps you track your typing progress. And you're going to be demonstrating how to use spreadsheet functions, equations, and graphs to help visualize that data. Spreadsheets are or can be very complex applications. One of my first jobs after college, I went to school for chemistry, was working for a biological sciences company called Beckman Coulter down in Chaska, Minnesota. And we had these very complex calculations and production tracking tools that we had to use. It was all approved by the FDA. It had this long certification process, and they were actually just very, very complex, fancy Excel spreadsheets. So they all ran within Excel. They weren't their own separate application. So you can do some really amazing things, and out there in companies, that's what they'll use sometimes. To do that, we are first going to create a new spreadsheet, and then in your CS10 Google Drive folder, and then we're going to set up these columns. So I'm going to show you a little preview of what this will look like, what we're creating today. These will be the different columns, and we'll be tracking your information for the different typing evaluations that you do. We'll be calculating your percent improvement, and then we're going to be graphing that so we can see how you are improving over time and how that lines up with your goals. So to start off, head over to your CS10 folder in Google Drive and select New, then Google Sheet. First thing we want to do, I'm going to close this because we don't need it, but we want to name this now. So put in your name. So I'm going to say Mr. Nupin's Typing Tracker, and share this with me as well. So click on share and then share it with me or whoever your teacher happens to be. All right, so for spreadsheets, these are the columns. They go A, B, C, D, and then the rows are with numbers, so it's a lot like Battleship. What we're going to be setting up is we have, what is we got here? 7 different columns that we're going to be setting up. And so our first one is eval. So we're going to do eval number and typing speed, or words per minute. So we're going to put these in the first row, row number 1. And I'm going to say eval number. So that's short for evaluation number. In the second column, that is going to be our words per minute. So I'm just going to type in WPM. As we're typing these, you can also, I'm going to select the whole row, so it does the formatting for everything, and I'm going to change the text just so it's a little bit larger. You can customize this, change the colors and the fonts and things like that if you want to. And looking back over at here, so we've got our typing speed and the words per minute. We're going to have our accuracy and percent improvement. So for this next column, I'm going to say accuracy, percent, and percent improvement. You'll notice now what's happened is that this row or this column got cut off by this one. And you can resize the columns by selecting that, and then you'll notice that the cursor changes from like a pointer or a hand, and then if you get it in between the two, it's this little divider bar. And if we click and hold and drag that to the side, you can then expand that column. You can see that improvement is also the same thing, so I'm going to just slide that over so we can see all of it. All right, so then our next one is going to be words per minute goal and accuracy goal. So WPM goal and accuracy, but I'm going to abbreviate that to just ACC. Actually, you know what? Let's do accuracy goal, because I'm going to show you another thing that we can do, because this is a longer one as well as that one. If you select the whole row, we can set it so that instead of going into the next row, we want it to wrap around underneath it. On my screen, it doesn't show up as one of the options, and so if I click on the 3 dots, what we're looking for is this icon. Oh, sorry, this one right here. So it's got the 2 lines and an arrow, and it has the title of text wrapping. If you select that one, We want this middle one where it's going to then wrap the text. And what happened there is that if the text is too long to fit within that column in that cell, it'll then wrap underneath it. And it goes back to just one row if it's not. But I'm going to leave it like that. And our last one is going to be our typing score, and that's where you kind of evaluated yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay. So we've got these all set up. The idea here is that with each typing evaluation, you'll be putting your score in, but if we scroll down, you notice how like our columns disappeared up there, our categories. On this one, we've set it up so that if we added in, say, like 100 different evaluations, we always see the categories up at the top, which is helpful as you're kind of scrolling along. And to do that, there are these gray bars, and these let you freeze the rows. And you can do the same thing with columns. And now if we scroll down, this one will always stay up at the top. Okay, so we have finished that up. We've added those in. Let's go to the next one. Before we calculate this out, let's put in some data in there. For right now, we'll just put in some fake data. So I'm just going to say eval 1, 2, 3. And let's say we started off with our words per minute was like 20, and then we got a little bit better at 25, and then we got to like 29. And our accuracy was 80, and then 85, and then we got up to 90% accuracy. Okay, because what we want to do is we want to calculate our improvement. The formula for calculating percent improvement is the new score minus the old score divided by the old score. And this equation is the same for science and math. Whenever you want to calculate the percent change of something, how much did the temperature of water change, or how much did the distance change? You take the new value minus the old value, and then divide that by the old value, and then times 100. And so what's a little bit difficult though is that we need to do this as one line in our equation in the spreadsheet. And so we're going to use PEMDAS, where we're going to put parentheses around the -1. So we want to make sure that it calculates that first, then divide by the old. So going back to here, we can't really calculate percent improvement for our first one because we don't have an old one to compare against. So we go to the next row, and we put in, first start off by typing in an equal sign. This tells the spreadsheet software that it's going to be a calculation. And what we're going to do is, looking at this again, it's new minus old divided by old. So we can go to our new words per minute is this one. And I'm just going to click on it. You'll notice that it put in the value for that cell, which is B3, just like how Battleship works. So references by the column and the row, so B3. And then I'm going to type in minus our old score. And this is where now, right, we need to have a way of telling it to calculate that first, and so we're putting in the parentheses. So going back into here, I'm going to click at the beginning and say open parenthesis and then close parenthesis. And now we'll type in the divide sign. That's the one right next to, that's right underneath the question mark. You just press that one on the right side of the keyboard, and we're going to divide that by the new score. Oh, my mistake. By the old score. So I'm going to delete that. So it's new minus old divided by old. So new minus old divided by old. And I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to tell it no, not to autofill right now. And so notice we have a decimal one. We could do times 100 and then get a percent, but spreadsheets, because people often do things with spreadsheets with percents, we can tell it to format it as a percent. So we've got this one right here. We want to format it as a percent, and that will automatically change it to a percent, so it does times 100, and it adds the percent sign. And I'm going to get rid of those extra zeros because we don't need those. There we go. So now it's 25%. And what we can actually do is you can then, what's nice about these equations is that it will automatically update this. So as we're going along, like let's say if this was actually 21, we only improved by 5%, it'll automatically run that calculation for you so you don't have to redo it, which is great because as you add in more evaluations, it's going to increase. So we can have this equation run all the way down there. So select that cell, and then that little circle, click and drag that down here. And I'm going to click on that little suggestion thing. And here's giving us some errors. And the reason is because it's trying to divide things that don't exist. That's fine. We can just ignore that. But we see here that we improved by 25% and by 16% there. All right. So now we are done with putting in the calculations, and we're going to be graphing it next. But before that, let's go ahead and just put in what our goals were in our typing score. We can look that up later, so we'll just kind of type these in for right now. So let's say if my typing goal, like I had a really high expectations to start off with. I was going to be like at 50 words per minute and 100% accuracy, and I was 5 out of 5, but I wasn't. So my actual then I saw that was really low. So now I was like, okay, now my new goal is going to be 30 and maybe 90. All right, now I'm going to be 35 and 90. Okay, so we've got